Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Nancyetta. I'm a proud member of the very focused Team F. The team's book title is Cultural Appropriation or Cultural Appreciation, an analysis of 6 television series and films that will make you question Western representations of non Western cultures. This was such an interesting topic to brainstorm on collectively. The debate of cultural appropriation versus appreciation by Western media is the bedrock of this discourse. I recently watched The Daily Show by Trevor Noah, an episode on how Western reporters expressed shock over the war in a relatively civil country like Ukraine. Clips of Western media reporters were shown saying they have to choose their words carefully, but they went on to report that this war isn't expected in a developed country like Europe, but rather in developing countries like Africa and Middle East. This was the Western media reporting that the situation in Ukraine was expected in third world nations like Africa. That was Africa in the mud, in my own opinion. This brings us to my chapter. Is Western media ready to stop stereotyping non-Western cultures? An analysis of 2 American movies, Coming to America and Black Panther. Studies have indicated the Western media depicts stereotypical images of non-Western cultures, including the Middle Eastern and African cultures. This trend have continued to grow and develop in the Western media industry, resulting in negative public understanding and worldview on the portrayed cultures. As a result, this chapter focused on determining the readiness of the Western media industry to prevent and mitigate stereotyping of the non-Western culture. From these case studies, negative stereotyping of the African cultures still occurs in films such as Coming to America. Coming to America centers around Zamunda, a fictional African country. It presents Africans live in perpetual safari. Never minding the fact that African cities are developed and multifaceted. Africa has trading hubs. There are big cities, plenty of businesses and infrastructures. But you would never know this watching this film. What you would see in this movie is a few goats, giraffes, symbolic clothing that depicts tribal roots here and there, females putting on scarves. That was clearly cultural appropriation, in my opinion. Black Panther, in a bid to mitigate cultural appropriation, does show some traditional African attires in this movie. The clothing, the dancing, and the costume scene in the movie does reflect some previous African tribe traditions, but it shows elements from Southern Africa to Sub-Saharan Africa. It is not an accurate representation of the African culture. Africa has changed drastically over the years. Fashion from different African nations were lumped in this movie and wasn't presented correctly. The Black Panther was based on different African cultures. It grossly misrepresented these African cultures rather than draw inspiration from them. This in turn affects the way people view the African culture. It would have made more sense if they could have used artifacts and facts from the main ethnic background, i.e. from West Africa, honoring their ancestors instead of taking cultural aspects from other different parts of Africa not related to them. Many African nations will find this disrespectful. Western media made this movie a mixture of different African cultures infused in one. The audience now believes Africa is Wakanda, Africa is Africa, which is not true. As an African, I can say this: we might be Africans, but our cultures are different. From the analysis of these 2 case studies, Western media outlet possesses different cultural stereotyping and appropriation, despite various strategies to reduce the stereotyping of African cultures. The depiction of Africans occur in negative ways, creating different meanings for the audience. Inadequate analysis and understanding of African cultures leads to generalization and contributes to cultural appropriation. Said's theory of Orientalism plays an integral role in explaining the natures of the Western media in stereotyping non-Western cultures, i.e. Africa, in various ways. I hope I've been able to share my findings on cultural appreciation versus cultural appropriation with regards to how Western media, presents non-Western cultures. Thank you so much for listening and have a good day.